Gota di Pasqua Shanti. I'm sitting here in a mini meditation before starting this program because I'm in a beautiful company with our special guest, company of Nati V behind the controller, and the peaceful atmosphere here in the studio. Welcome, Saturday, October 11th. Yesterday was World Mental Health Day. So that's why the theme today is about mental health, and we're going to cover depression to soul. So a lot to cover today. But before I go more deeper into the details of today, I want to thank all the weekly listeners. And in a special today, I want to say hello to Bianca Baez at Tumba. And also, I want to extend a warm, deep thank you to Choco Wellness of University of Aruba, because they do post these videos on their free source of wellness online. So check it out. There is a lot of resource on wellness on chocowellness.com. Yeah, so we're going to get ready and do a breathing practice, no? To prepare the mind and the heart for the inspirational information today with our special guest. So I invite you to sit comfortable, and today I will do a breathing poem for you, a little bit different than you're used to. So sit comfortable, your eyes can be closed, phone screen turned down. This moment is for you. Feel your breath and follow these words. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. Breathing in, I see myself as clear water. Breathing out, I reflect things as they truly are. Breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. Notice how that feels. To pay attention to your breath and connect with your inner space. Your eyes may open. Welcome again. Maybe for real, maybe now you're more present. So this is Yobida number 18, and it's a rainfall, no? Because today we are in English, rainfall of goodness. Yeah, so our guest of today is Lacle. She's a holistic psychologist, and I will tell more about Millie. Millie is a holistic psychologist and a master hypnotist and a natural health doctor. She has more than 20 years of experience. She is a breath therapist, also an author, and a teacher and specialized in emotional and psychological health. She does seminars abroad, like in Holland, Panama, and the US. And in her work, she focuses on treating patients as whole beings versus individual parts. And exciting, she is about to publish a book next year, Everyone Matters, and maybe we can talk a bit about that today. So, Millie, a warm welcome.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. And I know that your viewers and your listeners, they must love this practice with you of breathing and becoming center. But I do want to add that being close to you feels amazing. And thank you. Thank you for having me in your program.
Thank you, Millie, for being here. And as many people who know me, I'm open, I'm transparent, I'm grounded. I know Millie because I took sessions with Millie, and they've been very helpful in my healing journey, spiritual journey. And that's why she's also here today, because what you know and your experience is very valuable. And like I told you before the show started, I wish my 16-year-old was sitting here. That's when I had severe depression, and I wish I could learn that, but you told me she's still here, so we're listening together. So one curious thing that I have, what got you to become a psychologist? If we can start on a personal note.
So it wasn't the initial decision as I was growing up. I studied communications, and I was very much involved in sales. So I was the worst salesperson in my team, because instead of pushing or selling something, I would end up listening to how people were feeling, and they were opening up to me. So that got me started, and eventually I knew that this was my path. So the natural path in me, which is my second studies, and what really interests me was that physical pain always seemed to be hand by hand or walking side by side with a lot of emotional distress, and especially guilt. And so that's what started my journey. I wanted to transcend that physical manifestation, because it seemed to me that, and I worked in hospices, so I was, helping people transcend, and they were so immersed in pain, but the guilt that they were carrying, or what they couldn't say to the people that they love, or the treatment they've been given to the people that they love, it was deeper than the pain or disease itself. So for anyone that knows me, might feel, and I always get a question, why are you so excited? Why are you so happy? And you're constantly dealing with everything in the spectrum, and with so many such stories of pain. And it's my focus is human potential. And I've come to know over time and space people with stories that would shatter, but no, they all pass. Nothing stays the same. So we are built with such resilience. And I believe that for a long time we've bought into this story that we're supposed to be happy, and that's how it is. But I would say that everything in nature is a polarity. So you cannot be happy if you have not experienced sadness, just like day and night. You cannot be brave if you have not been a coward. You cannot be angry if you have not experienced calmness. So if we are able to experience anger, sadness, fear, it's only logical that we've also experienced their counterparts. Only that when something traumatic happens to us, we kind of stay stuck there, right? And it's all that we're seeing. So yeah, that's how I started. And I want to talk about your 16-year-old for a moment. Yes. So your 16-year-old that experienced all those emotions and feelings might be just that part of you that brings into awareness, let's talk about depression. Because she had to go through it, and she had to live, she had to work, she had to become a mother eventually, she had to, be a professional. But she might not have fully understood what brought her to feel that way. And I say that we are made of many, many different parts. You have so many organs that work together in that beautiful perfection of who you are as a human being. You just don't have a heart. You have a heart that works with the kidneys or with the liver or the pancreas. So already to a physical level, you are so many parts. And it's the same with your emotions and your thoughts and every single moment of impact, positive and negative. Your 16-year-old didn't move or died. Your 16-year-old is every single experience that happened when you were 16, and they all live in your unconscious mind. So she's here.
Yeah, thank you for honoring the 16-year-old and me listening together. I liked what you said in our previous interview, our session together, that there comes a lot before depression.
Yeah.
Can you highlight that?
So the primary emotions which are, the reason they're called primary is because they're easily recognized because of those microfacial expressions that come with them. So then you have fear, of course, and you have anger, and you have sadness, and you have disgust, which when you're an adult, nobody is forcing that spoon of something that you will hate when you were little. So you're disgusted by it. When we are adults, whenever we are forced to do things that we don't want to do, we are disgusted, and it's part of that anger spectrum, correct? So we're going to go through a lot of that in our lives, things that we don't get to resolve.
Like the anger spectrum?
In all the spectrums of primary emotions, we're going to be afraid, we are going to be sad, and we are going to be angry. But if we do not face it and neutralize, right? Let's take anger. Anger is an emotion that arises to allow you to say, no, it's not fair. What is happening to me at this moment is not fair. And you stop it. You stop it or you turn away, never
It's
to
like
experience
a warning.
it.
It's a warning emotion?
It's the same stress that you felt when you were hungry the first time. Or anytime you've been hungry. It's your body communicating. It does not use words. It uses feelings. Right? So when anger comes up, you're supposed to neutralize that, to solve it, and you're not supposed to be encountering the same thing over and over. Because when you are, it's no longer anger. Now it becomes resentment. That's a secondary
That's
one.
unsolved anger.
Yeah, and it's layers of anger, like an asphalt road. You know how many layers they put so it has a solidity for cars to go on top? Same thing with anger, same thing with unresolved sadness or fear. So then when your body is experiencing all these emotions, which by the way, we all have emotions, right? Like energy in motion coming from the senses, coming from what you're thinking, what is happening in your life, but we don't feel them the same way. Because what you're feeling has everything to do with your foundational beliefs, right? Has to do with everything that has happened, everything that is stored in your unconscious mind. If everyone would experience anger the same as an emotion, then maybe everyone will be hitting each other or screaming at each other. But then you have people that cry, or they, simply pretend that they're okay and they swallow all that anger. So
everyone responds differently to the same emotions.
Right. Sisters can respond differently. People eating the same meals, being raised in the same house, they all react different because we are completely unique. I mean, your fingerprints are not the same, and they are in your own hands, in your own body. Your cellular structure, your microbiota is different than your child's, right? So there is no one in the history of humanity that is the same, and there will never be. So if you are not the same as anyone else, that which you think, that which you feel, the way you process information, the way you handle life, it is going to be different. And you know what's even more amazing? That is going to be different every time. Because every day you gain new resources, you learn different things, you solve different things internally. So the same way that you dealt with sadness 5 years ago might be very different in how you deal with it today.
So you're unique and constantly changing.
Oh yeah. Despite the resistance to change, which is so positive and needed,
Mili, I love your the love with which you speak with, and how, to go back what you said earlier, you see human potential, so you don't see someone defined by their story, but you see their potential, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, I threw away labels a long time ago, because at the end, what we share as humanity is our feelings, our emotions. I think that once you start digging deep enough into the labels, clinically depressed, or attention deficit disorder, or whatever labels we constantly use, once you start going deeper into that story, then you'll find out that it's just a bunch of emotions, feelings that are trapped, that have not been resolved or understood. And I'm sure because you're a yoga teacher and you do a lot of things which, people probably are saying, I can't meditate, I can't focus because my mind is racing all the time. So I bet you get a lot of that, right?
A lot of that, yeah.
Okay, so your mind lives in your body.
So we're going to talk about the unconscious mind?
Yeah, we will. But I think it's important that people understand that when your mind is overactive, the reason it's overactive is because you are asking questions that you're doing very little to resolve. So when you say things like, why me? Mm-hmm. Why me? Mm-hmm. There's nothing else that your mind can do but get overactive, desperately trying to seek an answer. Because the mind...
Overactive is overthinking.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm.
So the mind wants to answer. That's one of its greatest tasks.
Overthinking is looking for that answer, right? Trying to dig.
Exactly.
Looking for the answer in your mind.
Exactly. And then if you're asking, because if humans understood the power of their words, they will be very careful what they're saying out loud. If they understood how many questions they ask in a day, how many open questions about their lives or others' lives they are asking in their conversations, well, then you'll have a mind that cannot stop or relax because it's trying to do its function, which is answer those questions, understand.
And that's to have control, no? The mind wants to understand to have safety. Maybe that's the best.
The mind,
you want to look for safety.
So I would like to maybe immerse you in something that I think you would love, and maybe your viewers as well. So for that, you're going to have to close your eyes for a few seconds.
Let's close the eyes.
Yeah.
I'm closing mine. Yes.
And just connect with your breathing, which you're so great at. But do follow that breath going in. And as you exhale, make that exhalation slower and longer. And now I'm going to ask you a question, but I want you to feel the answer. Don't think the answer, feel the answer. Do you have a body? Or are you your body? And there's no right or wrong. It's what it is. Connect with the first thing that comes up. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And you're feeling that openness or that resistance towards the question?
Openness.
Towards?
The first part.
Which is, do you have a body? Or are you your body?
Yeah.
Which one?
Do you have the body was like my body opened and relaxed.
Okay. So when we have a body, it's no difference than having a car, or having a house, or having a horse. And your mind is the one racing that horse or walking with that horse. And part of my research and a big part of my book is that we don't have a body. We are our body right now. And see, in science, that 4-letter word, soul, is not something that is used that often. I'm very scientific in my approach. But your soul, that can transcend a body, very much believes and feels that she is your body at this time. So when we have a house, we maybe maintain it very well, or we completely disregard it. If we have a car, we maybe race it too hard, or we don't even use it. But when we are, then that connection is completely different. And then your body becomes a part of something much greater, like a drop of ocean in the, a drop of water in an ocean. It's not the ocean, but it has all the components of the ocean itself. Inside of you, everything responds the same when you become that. Not having it, but being, the beingness inside your body. And then the level of connection is completely different, right? So the mind isn't trying to control the narrative there. The mind is trying to just solve a question you've asked. And that question could be the many parts of you that have unresolved issues in you. But that's the world of the unconscious mind. Unconscious mind does not judge in between good or bad. It's not a terrain or good or bad. It's reactive. It's extremely reactive. It's symbolic. So if you're going in a car and you're 5 or 6 and they say we're going to Disney, and what you're seeing is a light, turning red, that light turning red will be an exciting moment for you. But if what was happening is that parents were saying, we don't love each other anymore and this is it, we're going to separate, that red light becomes a source of anxiety or fear or anger or sadness. And then you forget later on the story because your conscious mind cannot retain that much information. It handles 40 bits of information per second. Unconscious, we believe 11 million or more. So it's everything, right? We think we are making decisions with our conscious mind. Absolutely not. Every reaction, every impulse, decisions that are much deeper than our understanding, they're coming from that environment that already understands the world differently than anyone else. So if you lived in a house where they said you have no limits, or you fell down, amazing. Now you get the opportunity to practice getting up. How nice is that? Mm-hmm. It's very different than if you grew up in a house and when you fall down, they call you all sorts of names and they said you're good for nothing, and what you're doing is not appreciating this family. And you're never going to make it, and the world is hard, and money is something that we're never going to access, and if you do, watch out, it's evil. So those two experiences of how we see the world are going to be very different, and they're coming from that 0 to 9 beginning interaction. And obviously that has scientific explanation. At that time of our lives, our brainwave, our predominant brainwave is theta. Yeah. The same brain wave as hypnosis, right? Mm-hmm. So we are absorbing everything that is happening around us, and we're not judging if it's good or bad and we want it or not. That happens later on when you become a teenager and you start rebelling even against your parents, right? So yeah, that unconscious mind is a territory that is extremely somatic. That's because I've changed my shift in psychology to become somatic. I'm very holistic. Can you
explain that term, somatic?
So soma, body. Mm-hmm. So you think in your head, but you feel in your body, right? And if those two do not connect, you're living in cognitive dissonance, which is I'm saying something, but I'm feeling completely another.
And I'm doing something else.
Yeah, those are the people that constantly tell you things they're going to do, but their behavior is different. And you do not know if you should believe what they're saying or what they're doing. Please believe the behavior.
Believe the behavior, not the words.
Words might be that altruistic nature that we all have, regardless of our stories and what we're doing, that still wants to do something good, that still want to be there for someone. Yeah, exactly. And then we say things like that because the conscious mind, obviously, it's a planner. The conscious mind wants to do things that are better, wants to attain things that are better. But if your unconscious mind is dictating, which is where behavior comes from, is dictating a different story, it's always going to win. Unless that person seeks not to have somebody else do their work, but to do their work, to spend time with self and go in there and change the narrative, because your unconscious mind does not care if what you're imagining is true or not. If you go in and you breathe and you imagine positive things in your life, that's new information for the unconscious mind that starts balancing the status quo in that unconscious mind.
Okay, let me take a breath here. There's a lot of information. I'm loving it. Just a recap. So the unresolved emotions start since childhood and up to now.
Even before your birth.
Even before the birth.
Yeah.
And next to that also you are absorbing everything that's happening around you, the good, the bad, and your unconscious mind absorbs that and your belief system starts forming.
Yes.
And one way to balance out these unresolved emotions is what you're saying. Go within. I liked how your voice slowed down and you.
Yeah, you're going.
So you
inwards.
go inwards. And can you describe that? Because that's not something normal in our culture.
No.
So when you would say go within, how?
Yeah, because our attention is constantly out there, right? I mean, to recognize the color of your eyes, you need a mirror. You couldn't do it on your own, right? So one of the ways that we know that we have to do work internally is that life starts showing you a lot of things you do not like. You know, you're pointing the finger at someone that you cannot stand or situations that you do not like. And I would say that that should be a moment to pause, because if you're recognizing that out there, it lives inside of you as well.
Is that a trigger? What people would call a trigger? Things that trigger you?
Well, if you are triggered, you have a lot of ammunition inside, right?
I like that.
Yeah, because if not, anyone could push your buttons. No one's going to explode in here because I've done my work. I'm no longer... So triggers is not from out there or anyone. If you get triggered, it's because you have to deal with what's internally.
Yeah.
So that's one way.
So that's a sign.
That's a sign. Also, it works in a beautiful way too. If you admire and you love something about someone, well, be sure that that lives within you too. If not, you couldn't recognize it. So that's one. I start seeing things that I don't like, and they're emotionally, having me all over the place. I'm overreacting, and people keep saying, hey, don't take it personal. Hey, but don't take it personal. So that's already a red flag of pause. There's work I need to do. Ways in which I can start getting more familiar with my unconscious mind and doing the work that I have to do is breathing, finding a place where I can be comfortable, closing my eyes to slow, those brain waves, and start breathing, but breathing towards your diaphragm, almost as if your belly button is the one doing your breathing, right? And when you start feeling that you're not even sustaining your body anymore. It's like you've, surrender, or you're dissolved into the sofa or wherever you're sitting. Connect with something that has hurt you, or someone that has betrayed you, or whatever you're experiencing out there. Connect with the last moment that something triggered you or made you feel, that resonance inside, And simply follow it. Where are you feeling that in your body? And hold it, just as you were holding your chest when we started. Hold that emotion there, because as you're doing your work, as you're driving your car, that part of your body has been holding that unresolved emotion for a long time for you. So be there, be present, and internally ask, what is the origin of this? And the origin is always that initial sensitizing event, that initial wound that perhaps did not happen yesterday when you were upset, but it happened a long time ago, right? So as you trail that, your job is not to judge it. Don't judge. If you judge, you do not understand. It's not even a job. The only thing you have to do is observe. As if you are watching a movie. Stay there observe everything. And the moment that you apply that breathing, and that breathing that has the power to dissolve anything, opens up and you feel better, go to the different polarity. If what you're experiencing at that moment is extreme anger, connect with a moment in your journey. Why would we have memories if not to use them as an encyclopedia of how to switch into these states, and connect with a moment you were calm? And then just repeat, just enhance that internal memory. Repetition is another way that we can change the narrative. You repeated the ABCs over and over. You didn't know what you were doing, but you were singing it, you were writing it, A, B, C, D, E. And you are never going to have to practice or study how to read or write.
I like
right?
that. So
Deprogram, repetition.
So you can deprogram or reprogram your belief system,
everything, your mind, your thoughts, your belief system, the impacts neurologically, you can start creating new neural connections to a different narrative, because your unconscious mind does not care that that moment of calmness is something you're imagining or remembering. It's happening as if it's happening now. The same way that when you get upset or you're being constantly triggered, well, it's like it's happening all over again for the first time, and your body is pumping neurochemicals that are extremely bad for your health. So try to gear how much time you're spending creating neurochemicals for something that happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, and you're reliving that moment through interactions hundreds of times. And then we're complaining that our joints hurt, that that our sugar is too high. Yes, it has a lot to do with the diet, but every time you're stressed, you're going to have spikes as well. Your pancreas is overworking at those moments. So it's not complicating. It's spending time with ourselves.
Yes, you see, it's not complicated. But when I talk to people who have a lot of things bottled up and they never were taught how to be still or how to feel, how to breathe, it can be very overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
Because I meet people who are afraid to be still. That there always has to be something entertaining going on. And how do you help someone in that state to make this initial inner? Is it something you can do by yourself, or you need the help of a psychologist, or you need a teacher?
Depends. There's no one better than you to understand when you need help, or to understand when it's something I want to try and see how it goes. But I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm always searching and going deeper and deeper. And I landed in a memory not long ago, which had a tremendous reaction in me. I was hyperventilating, I was crying, I was wailing. But because these are the responses that the body uses to release the stress, to release that emotional knot that has been, you've been carrying for so long, if you have the information, the knowledge, then you're not scared.
Yes.
You know that nothing is happening. That has been there for a long time. It's not something that is happening now. You might as well release it. So if you know that crying, if you know that shaking, if you know that your heart is going to beat faster, if you know that you're going to have to retrain your breath to get still, because at that time it's also trying to release everything that has been stored, then you're going to let your body do what it knows to do best. So when people do not want to be still, that is a protective mechanism, because it's painful. Being still is going to connect you to memories that you do not like, to thoughts that you want to escape, and to feelings that you're uncomfortable. And, we should have learned this in first grade, but we didn't. So now we are scared to feel. But if you don't feel, you're not human. You're numb. You feel disconnected, which is the inability or the that agreement that somebody made because had such impacts in their life that I will not cry anymore and I will not feel anymore. And it's not that person is not feeling. It's just that they're stuck in their head and they're looking for noise and they're looking for drugs or they're looking for whatever it is to take a spaceship away from that which is hurting them. Now, you could live your whole life doing that, but you're not going to resolve one thing.
And that's when the depression can come in, if we can loop back to that term.
Yes, so depression, in my opinion, happens. It's, I always call, when somebody says, I am feeling depressed, I said, good, your body is doing what it knows how to do best. It's saving your life. Because you are walking around with such unresolved situations. You are frustrated because events in your life seem out of your control and they keep repeating over and over, right? So your body has nothing else to do than simply depress. Just bring it all down. Because that inner part of you, the one that is digesting our lunch while we are preparing for this interview, without having to consciously access how many digestive enzymes or hydrochloric acid am I going to need now to digest what you ate. It never asks you that. You never have to calculate that. And you eat different things every day. So that mechanism, that internal wisdom knows that if you continue generating adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, you're not going to make it. So in a way, depresses everything, so you are numb. You're not feeling anything. You don't even want to get out of bed. But it's not doing that, so eventually you get up and go back to your old ways. It's doing that, so you have the time to reflect and to understand, how do I change this? How do I change this in me? How do I stop?
So depression is a call for change, your body giving you a sign.
Everything's a call for change. Change. When you're sad, that's a feeling or an emotion that is saying you have lost someone, you have lost something, you have lost you. How many people change who they are depending on who they're dating? And then when it doesn't work out, they're sad because the person never knew them, because they weren't even them. They had masks, to accommodate what that person needed. A lot of people are walking around knowing what they want, but they have very little understanding of what they need.
Wanting and needing is not the same,
No.
right?
Wanting is, the mind wants so many things. And I'm not criticizing the mind. I love the mind, okay? It's the drive. I want a car, I want a house, I want a boat, I want love, I want happiness, which, by the way, different for everyone. When someone says, I want to be happy, define happy for you. For some people, happy is being alone reading their books. For others, I don't know, is being in parties or being in a casino, surrounded by the noise. So happy is not a judgment point or how I should be happy. Happy is individual for anyone at whatever stage of their life they're in. So the mind wants so much. Now, what you truly need is 7 things.
Should I get my pen? 1.
So first and foremost, we need to breathe. We need air. We need oxygen.
And that's a part of connecting with yourself.
Yeah, so you need to breathe. And for those that are thinking, yeah, but I'm breathing because a plant is producing the oxygen. Well, your carbon dioxide is that oxygen that the plant needs. Everything here is equal. Everything here is a circle without beginning and end of how we're sharing this experience. And breathing, that inhale and exhale, that at a perfect unison or ratio, they're equal. I'm not breathing more than I'm exhaling. I'm not inhaling more than exhaling, because if you inhale, but do not exhale, well, nobody better than you knows what happens. You're going to collapse. Same happens if you exhale. So when you are in relationships or you're living your life giving, you're a giver. And on top of that, you say, yeah, because I'm doing it, not expecting anything in return. Well, that's illogical. That does not happen in your body. That does not even happen in your breathing. And that is the reason that you can even speak. We inhale, exhale at the same ratio. We give and we receive at the same ratio. And that is effective living. Because when I get back, as much as I'm giving, I feel my best. And if you don't feel good, Shanti, you're not the mother your kid deserves. You're not the professional that is going to accomplish everything. You're not the child your parents deserve. If you don't feel good, you're not going to be a good version of yourself for anyone or anything out there. So our breathing teaches us that, and it's the whole day trying to teach us that, because it feels awful when you're not in sync with your breathing. When you're breathing shallow, when you're not exhaling enough, you don't feel physically well. So it wants you to go back to that homeostasis. Same with your relationships. Second thing that we need is water. Right? That hydration. You were formed in this beautiful amniotic sac, which is 97% water, 95, 97. So you were forming a bag of water. Everybody has different water needs depending on how much physical activity, on what they're eating, if they drink too much coffee, if they drink alcohol. Well, you need 2 or 3 glasses more. I know that I'm 5'4", and I need about 10 glasses of water in a day, and that does not include the ones I have to take after I drink coffee. And if you're dehydrated, your brain doesn't function optimally. You're not thinking right. You're not feeling right. And we are associated with the mind, but the mind lives in a body. Give the body the hydration it needs, and you're going to feel better instantly. And that also comes with what you're giving to yourself, those moments in which you're hydrating your inner being with your presence, in which you are moving forward in knowledge and understanding. And if we make a point of learning something new every day, well, we feel limitless.
Are these the next points?
Hmm?
Are these the next points of
What?
number 3, number 4?
Number 3 is food, nourishment.
Yes.
So food and
So these
nourishment.
are the basic things, no? The breath,
Yeah, but
the water, the
there's people
food.
that do not eat properly in a day. You know, they don't feel well, but then they feel they're depressed or they're anxious or they have panic attacks. You are what you eat. So if you're made of proteins, well, that has to be present in your diet every day. You know,
Yes.
if your brain is mainly fat, you better not be on a fat-free diet because you're not going to feel well. And that is the same with the nutrition you have in your relationship. So there's people that are they have great nutrition with money at work, but they are completely undernourished in their relationship or connections. And then comes shelter.
Can we pause at relationship? Because
Yeah.
you mentioned it 3 times, and each time you mention it, I would go, soulmate.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that.
Yeah.
Is that something we could sidetrack and highlight?
Yeah.
Also connecting it to that mind wanting, no?
Yeah.
The wanting that fulfillment on the outside,
Yeah.
or the security. And
Yeah.
what is soulmate truly?
Well, truly, remember that truly only means truly to the one saying it. And it only means truly at this moment in time. Perhaps you and I sit 5 years from now, and this soulmate conversation might be different. And that would be totally okay, because change is part of who we are. But at this moment in my journey, I believe that to be comfortable with a soulmate out there, you have to find it within yourself first. So I believe that the unity of the right and left hemispheres of your brain, it is the closest feeling of wholeness and soulmate that one can ever find. When what I think equals what I feel. When I stop saying I'm okay when I'm crying inside. When I start saying yes when I really mean no. When I stop saying no and creating dramas because I feel guilty about saying no. So when you find that there's no cognitive dissonance, that you are walking with your truth, that you are in love with who you are. Not in love, but you're criticizing your legs. Not in love, but you hate your buttocks. Well, you go to the bathroom many times a day. You don't like what you're seeing? Do 20 squats every time you go to the bathroom. See in 3 months how you're going to look. So anything in your body, if you have a body, you'll criticize it. If you are your body, you'll enhance it. People hate their hair. They love to do all kinds of things in the hair. But if you become your hair, you start brushing that hair differently. You start doing it with love and honor. You start putting mask and hydrating it. And you become your hair and you love your hair. There won't be one person that is not complimenting your hair. So we want it out there, but we are so hesitant in spending time with ourselves. If you don't want to be with you, why are you expecting somebody out there has to do that? Mm-hmm. If you don't want to fix the way you're feeling, why do you want someone out there to do that for you? Isn't that unfair? Mm-hmm. That would be conditional. I need you, I want you because you're going to take care of me. No. So I would say take care of you, mm-hmm. because when you do, everyone out there wants to do the same. They want to follow your example. And that's what soulmate means for me. My soul is mine. I become its mate. I become its love. And once you are vibrating high in this love, you love out there without conditions. You just love the beingness of everyone that comes in your presence.
And that makes the circle, right? We talked about the depression, the unresolved emotions, and you gave beautiful examples of the breath, food, water,
Shelter.
knowing that shelter, and also the part of when you feel an emotion that's difficult, receive it, it's natural, it's to feel better, and all of that leads to a soulmate experience inside.
Yes. Sometimes I hear mothers saying, but you need to see my child because she was crying.
Yeah.
Allow the crying.
Yes.
She's needed to regulate emotionally. How is crying ever a bad thing? When did we believe that story? We only breathe because we cried when we were babies. It expanded our lungs. Crying is a superpower. We live in a society where we're weak because we cry. No. This is how we regulate emotionally.
I'm going to write that down. Crying is a superpower.
It is. Yeah.
So I want to do a little pause. We have about 10 minutes before we complete. How are you feeling, everyone? Are you breathing? Are you listening? Are you writing down? Are you being inspired? Are you being triggered? Are you being remembered by things that maybe you forgot? So know that today we can receive questions. So those who have my WhatsApp number, you can send me a question. And for those who don't, you can WhatsApp me at 6618133. I repeat, 6618133. It can be a little hard, it can be a comment, but do you have a question for Millie on everything that you have heard today? I for certainly have a lot of takeaways today, even being in this journey for so long. I love that what you are expressing here today, Millie.
How's your 16-year-old feeling?
Listening and calm.
Yeah. Validated,
Yes.
right?
That's the word.
Yeah.
Validated. Because one thing also you said about we're not born to be happy all the time. Because I think that makes it more difficult to accept our difficult emotions when we are expected to live that perfect life like we see on social media.
Yeah. So stories are beautiful. That's how we connect. But stories have changed over time. If you love history, you'll see that there was a time in which everybody wanted to practice stoicism. They had to be stoic. Life was brutal, but you have to stand strong and not show emotions.
It's a kind of a coping, no?
It was the story that was passing at that time. And then there was a time in our history where if you were too happy, you weren't considered an intellectual. Right? So people started becoming quite serious and suppressing laughter or expressions of happiness. And I see it sometimes. I see little kids being so excited about a window of a store and parents calming them down as they look around because people are going to think you've never been in a store. So it starts very little where we're starting to get suppressed that happiness perhaps is not something that should be too loud or too long or too explicit. But crying, you shouldn't do either. If you're a boy, you have to be strong. You cannot cry. And if you're a girl, girls look prettier if they're not crying or they're not angry. So, we're in the business of suppressing because we're victims of victims of victims. Nobody's doing that against you. But your parents were also victims of that. So they already ingrained that program in you. So we are pulled into the stories. One that I love the most because December is so any psychologist out there understand that December is a heavy month when it comes with psychological or emotional well-being because Christmases are coming. People are very hesitant of going to connect with their families. The experience is not what it should be, or they've lost people that they love. And there is a story that we are sitting, in tables filled with food, and we're all happy. and we're all connected and there's so much gifts. That's not the reality. I know enough people that work 2 shifts that day and they don't get to sit with anyone. They're serving tables, you know?
Yes.
There are homes where there are no gifts, and there are homes where there's food and gifts, but people are not connected and they're grilling each other. So this story creates an expectation. An expectation is the clear way to suffer. When you are into an expectation and life doesn't happen that way, you're going to suffer.
Yes. Thank you for that, Millie. I'm going to look at my WhatsApp. A moment. Checking in here. I have questions too, but let's see. Okay. Question. What is the difference between a holistic psychologist and a non-holistic psychologist?
So there are so many branches in psychology, right? There's we call it the 4 powers, and there's different schools of psychologists. So there is a lot of psychologists out there. Holistic takes into consideration your body. So it's looking at a human being, not in parts or not just the associations of their thoughts or behaviors, but is seeing everything that is happening with that body. So it wants to make sure that the body is healthy and receiving what it needs in order for the mind to function and be optimal. We also understand that you don't feel in your head. No one thinks sadness, they feel sadness. You don't think anger, you feel anger. So we're trailing emotions in your body. So there's a great somatic experience when you're working holistically or when you're working as a somatic psychologist, which is the right term for what I do. Yes. And that is the difference. So not one is better than the other. I should recommend that people interview or get to feel how safe the space of whomever they're planning to work with feels, and then follow your intuition. And if you feel safe to open up, then that's the right place or space for you.
Okay, thank you for that, Millie. I can't believe we're reaching the completion of the show.
It just flew.
It flew like it's just a while ago that we had our first cup of tea. Millie, do you have a message, let's say, for anyone who's listening right now, who's in a state of turmoil, not being able to connect, wants that soulmate experience inside? What's your message that you have for them?
I would say, and I want to use the title of my book, everyone matters, you matter more. A way back to self can only begin with yourself. Fixing, connecting has to happen within yourself before you're going to see that manifested out there. So you are not alone. You're not the only one feeling that way. And there's always groups, psychologists, coaches, people like you, Chanti, doing for years something beautiful in their communities, creating that space to connect, that thrive space where I can feel I belong. So, if you want to connect, just state that within yourself. Hold your heart and start feeling how your heart is beating. If you've ever thought, I'm not a leader, I'm not connected, well, your heart is the leader of trillions of cells and is organizing and connecting with each one of them. And that's happening inside your own body. So start there. Start connecting with you and see how doors open so you can find that connection out there.
I love that. Start connecting with you and see how doors open.
Yeah.
Ooh, is that in your book? Wow, beautiful. So thank you so much, Millie.
Thank you.
Very inspiring.
Thank you.
And we want to complete with a song that you choose.
Yes.
Can you tell us why this song is your favorite song?
I can't explain it with words. It's not a conscious. It's just when I hear it, I just feel this, beautiful space inside my chest where I know that my heart feels happy. And then that's why I honor the song. It's not a conscious thought, but completely somatic. Yeah. So I hope you enjoy it.
So this song is Oneness by Snatam Kaur, and it's in an ancient language, but it's about the feeling I also feel when I hear the song, I hear it with my body.
Yeah.
And maybe that's beautiful because it's not a language that we know in this region. So it's a good feeling experience.
Thank you.
So
Oneness, connection.
Oneness, yes. So everyone watching us right now from YouTube, we're going to say goodbye to you and thank you so, so much for being here today, for listening and feeling, and hopefully you're taking with you a lot of inspiration and knowing how to continue next on your journey. So to enjoy the song, meet us at Canal 90 on your radio, on your phone, or go to canal90fm.away so you can enjoy it there. So we're going to complete with a few moments of breathing and make the transition to integrating what you've learned and heard and shift into listening to the song coming up. Thank you. Take a deep breath.